Hey guys, so this video is going to focus on the different outposts in Fortnite and how viable they are for competitive and solo games, especially with World Cup around the corner. In my opinion, it's best to get an uncontested early game so that you can try to minimize the amount of RNG that you get throughout the entire process. So to start out with, the best outpost is this desert outpost. It can support a duo for sure. There's 9 chest spawns, which is pretty insane. There's a lot of mats like the metal over here and then just surrounding brick here and there, as well as obviously trees everywhere. There's 3 volleys, which makes it pretty likely that if you're a solo, at least you'll get one. And then the thing is, this spot's also good because although it has a lot of loot in and of itself, there's also like, for example, retail's poverty houses over here. Because although it is equidistant or maybe even shorter, closer to retail, the amount of time it takes a team to loot retail will probably cause this to be free for you guys, unless someone lands here and decides to go residential or the other way around. But I think more likely than not, you'll be able to get this for free. For rotations also, there's vents pretty scattered throughout, so you can go a decent distance around the map, especially because the vents generally lead like up, like an L shape in this. Alright, so the next outpost on the tier list is this one near Haunted Hills and Pleasant Park. It's pretty good because for a solo, however, it can also support a duo. The only reason it's a little bit difficult for a duo is because the total loot isn't the best and there's not too many options for looting, for rotating that'll put you in the path of more loot, if that makes sense. Okay, here we go. Alright, so the next outpost on the tier list is this one between or near Pleasant Park and Haunted Hills. It's pretty good for a solo, however it can also support a duo. There's 3 baller spawns and a vending here, as well as some chests. This doesn't have too much loot in and of itself, but there are mushrooms around and of course max wood. To max your brick and metal though, I'd recommend coming over here, where there's another vending machine spawn, some quad spawns, and then like 5 more chest spawns. Um, you and a duo could probably max out brick and metal from the uh, cars and debris piles present at the locations. And then the reasoning for going here is because Haunted Hills, like Retail Road, takes more time to loot than just the outpost, so you're probably going to get this for free unless someone lands here. If someone does land here, then you can go to these 2 areas, the rabbit and the house. Ideally, you can rotate to these 2 houses and then this house and the rabbit because the person in villain base will probably be taking extra time to farm brick and metal since that's the main reason people land here in the first place. So it's unlikely that they'll have the time to loot this area as well as a result. It can support a duo because of how much surrounding loot there is. However, there are no baller spawns, so keep that in mind. The advantage to this is that you're pretty much guaranteed to save time on farming just because of the efficiency of these rocks down over here. Which, if you don't know, give like, they each give about 16 per swing and then take about 10 swings. So you can get like 700 to 800 brick just right here. And then there's 3 chest spawns in this jungle area, or maybe even more honestly, combined with this outpost loot. If you're a duo, however, you probably want to loot the surrounding areas. Like, I'll go over here to this outpost, I'll take the cannon and shoot over. Or, that's not the outpost, but you get it. Or I'll drop here sometimes, like I'll land here, grab the chest off Battle Bus, look at the vending machine spawn, check quarry, and then just vent over to the outpost or the lazy rocks so that I can also max out my brick. Another advantage of this spot is that there's vents obviously, which make rotates pretty convenient. Generally speaking, you can get metal from here if you get zone, or if you don't get zone, then Loot Lake recently added a lot of metal throughout the entire place, so that's a viable option as of right now. However, I don't know how long that will be there, of course. And then, yeah. Alright, so the next spot is this Fatal Outpost. It's decent. It has decent loot, and the surrounding loot areas of this house, and then quarry is probably not going to be taken by anyone other than you. You could also try to go bridge, however, it's possible that he will land there, of course. Another advantage of this is that it's obviously high ground, so if anyone does try to approach you for whatever reason, then you have an implicit advantage in the fight. There's also some disadvantages now in that to maximize efficiency, like get this metal, 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 and then stone in the loot, you have to do a lot of running around, which can take a decent amount of time. However, since you do have 2 quads over here and a few hoverboards, it's unlikely that you'll get caught in the storm. It's just more likely that, let's say you farm this and you go to quarry and start hitting bricks, but then someone ramps up and takes the mountain, or then you're now in the position of low ground, and it could be annoying if you're not just going to walk away from it, which is probably the best option. This can also happen though while you're just on a different part of the mountain, because this is such a huge hill that if someone's ramping up on one side and you're on the other side, you pretty much can't see it, of course. There's 3 ballers here, which makes it pretty reliable that a solo will get one. I think for duos, it's actually better to land here than a solo, because you can guarantee your map diversity from bridge, since it's very unlikely that a duo will land bridge and try to play the game off of that. So you could get like a split on the outpost and the bridge, and it wouldn't be too bad. Alright, so next is this divot outpost. The divot outpost has a positional advantage since it's in the center of the map, so the first circle is probably not going to be a difficult rotation for you. Even if it is, cannons generally aren't the best tool for rotations. However, since it is in the middle, you can make a cannon rotation to wherever you need to go if the quad or the 1 baller spawn don't, if neither of them come, essentially. Another pro about this is that because there's a lot of POIs near it, like if you're dropping for this outpost, then it's very likely that you can also drop for diner or divot. You'll just have like a late drop. And so if you come in and you see that no one is going to either of these places, then you can just go there, and you essentially have 3 options whenever you want to land, which makes it a little bit less RNG if you're going to get contested or not, since you have a little bit more control. To rotate from here, since there's no metal, of course, I'd recommend coming here. It's patched up right now. I don't know why sometimes it's patched, but sometimes it's not. But if it's not, then I think there's 2 chest spawns and some brick. Either way, though, farm the metal, because people who land Loot Lake will probably not be landing in this spot, so it's free. They'll probably land, I don't know, the more standard Loot Lake spots that I am not qualified to speak on. You could then further your rotate to this vending machine, or just whatever you want to do, depending on how much time you have and how long it'll take before other people rotate into you, since you're in the center of the map, it's likely you'll have edge of zone, so you want to get into the zone before people who need to rotate will run into you. Alright, so coming in hot for C tier is the Volcano Outpost. The Volcano Outpost doesn't have too much loot in and of itself, however, it's really small, so you can loot it really quickly, and then say someone's looting this area of Volcano, you can try to contest them with a loot advantage that you could possibly have, based on your RNG of course. You could also loot Volcano or the Tomato Town over here. It's unlikely that you're going to be able to play the full game based on what you get here, so you're pretty much forced to make a rotation to another area of high loot. So if people land here, if people land everywhere around you, you're going to fight. Like, there's not much you can do about it, which is not preferred in my opinion. So I'd probably recommend instead landing somewhere like landing in one of these three spots and then rotating into here essentially. Unless you want to do an early game fight, in which case, go for it. Alright, so last on the tier list, I am putting the Snow Outpost. I put this last because it doesn't have much loot in and of itself, and the rotations you can make are pretty abysmal. There's no real free loot anywhere, since Greasy Grove, Stadium, everywhere near it is pretty contested generally. And you can only really get max wood here, so that's also not good. That's pretty much it. Shit. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Leave a comment if you want to. I try to respond to them all. Deuces.